Okay, so in the last video, I quickly did something in Onshape, okay, where I created this simple little placard. In this video, I'm going to focus with libreCAD, and we're going to go ahead and make something comparable, of similar size at least. I will say that working in 2 dimensions with the laser cutter, my preference is to use libreCAD if I want to do anything sort of artsy or expressive. It's going to give me more options and more tools for copying and fill and being able to predetermine the colors to make it easier to work with the laser cutter. However, like I said, I love this software. Onshape is amazing for doing 3-dimensional work. It does fine for 2-dimensional work, prepping for the laser cutter, but you don't get quite as many choices to manipulate your image. So that being said, let's jump in. So to do it with libreCAD, the first thing is you have to have it, remember I said it's installed. This has got to go on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. So what you want to do is you want to do a search on libreCAD, okay? And then from there you want to go to downloads. Like I said, it does work on any one of a number of different platforms. It does work fine with Mac, Windows, Linux. I'm on a PC here. I tend to get it from SourceForge. You can simply click and download the installer and go from there. I will say that on a Mac, since it is Mac compatible, it's perfectly fine Mac software, but it hasn't been vetted by Apple. So for you to install it, you actually have to use a 2-finger click. You can't just click on it with 1 finger and said open. You do have to click on it with 2 fingers, and then from there you'll be able to open it and bypass the safety features of the Macintosh installer, and you can get it on your Mac, and it works fantastic. Okay. So that being said, let's jump into libreCAD here, and let me make this full screen. So the libreCAD, let's just start off with a new one. libreCAD was very, very different than Onshape. First thing I'll point out is sort of your working space. I'm going to move in here to what's called the origin, the red X, and you can see that at default it's going to be at, see down here you see this grid status, it says 10 and 100. What that means is that each of these small units is 10 millimeters, each of these larger units is 100 millimeters. And if I zoom in, okay, you can see I now went to 1 and 10, which means that each of these small units, the dots, are 1 millimeter apart, and that's 10 millimeter apart. And if I scroll in again, you can see it changes over. Now we're at 0.1 and 1. So each one of these small units is 0.1 millimeter, and this is now 1 millimeter. All right. So I'm going to zoom back out to where we typically work, which is 10 and 100. And like I said, you know, this larger box here is 100, and this smaller box is 10. Okay. And we're going to want to make something that's 80 by 40. And we're going to make a rectangle. So I'm going to go up here to my rectangle, my drawing tool, my line drawing tool, to make a rectangle. And I'm going to have this thing set on my snaps, which means that it's going to snap. See how it's just kind of drawn to each one of those spots? I can't even put it in between. It just snaps to the closest one. If I turn it off, I can put it wherever I want. But I actually want to work with something pretty uniform. So I'm going to have my snap on. And I'm going to start in the origin. And I can do this by dragging it over 80. And you can see those numbers actually appear down here. But you can also count the dots. Okay. And I can go up here 80 by 40. I can also, just like in Onshape, or a little differently, but I can just type in 80, comma 40. And hit that and enter, and lo and behold, I've got an 80 by 40 box. Okay? And I can count it. I can see that it's 8 by 4. I could also take and actually make a measurement of it, and I can do, for example, a vertical. I can put it here, I can put it here, I can drag it out, and you can see that it's 40 millimeters. So, the next thing I want to do, just like I did in Onshape, is I want to trim these corners off. That's called fillet. So I'm going to go over here to my Modify button, and I'm going to choose the fillet, and up here I can choose the radius. I'm going to choose 5 again, which is what we did on the Onshape, and I'm going to click on the surface I want to join. It'll just kind of draw it out for you. You kind of click and drag the arc, and then you click it on the next surface, and then you can quickly round it off. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. I'm actually going to get this out of the way. I don't want to deal with it right now. Okay, so now I got my rounded 80 by 40. And now I'm going to go ahead and put a hole in it. So I'm going to choose a center point. There's lots of different choices here. I'm just going to choose a center point, and I'm going to put it right here in the middle. And again, like Onshape, I can, well, Onshape, you type it, you click it, then you change the value. In this case, it's eagerly waiting for me to type something in. We want to have it at 2.5 millimeters, which means the radius is 1.25. This works in radius. Onshape works in diameter. So I'm going to put in 1.25, enter, and now you can see that I've got a 2.5 millimeter circle right here. And if you don't believe me, just like before, I can go here, here to measure. I can choose a horizontal. In this case, you'll notice I can't click on the line because I have those snaps on. So I can choose this one, and that will actually allow me to snap onto the line. And you can see that, in fact, I have a 2.5 millimeter circle. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now, one of the things I like most about libreCAD is I want to deal in colors. Remember the laser cutter, the laser software, Lightburn, it's going to look for colors to set laser values. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I am going to call this my text layer. And I'm going to choose a color that I can tell the laser to behave a certain way with. So I'm going to choose cyan. And I'm going to say OK. And now you can see that this is highlighted, my text layer. So let's put some text in here. I'm going to go over here to Tools, and I have two choices. I can do multi-line text or single-line text. I'm going to choose the multi-line text. And in fact, you can see it's already kind of set up. Remember, I said I want you to put on there which mods you're taking. So in case of me, I'm taking all three mods, the intro, robotics, and the projects. And like you can in Word or what other software, I can choose the orientation of that. I'm going to have it left middle biased, and so it'll be put up against the left side. And I'm going to choose, I don't know, let's choose a different font. Let's go with this other italics font. And I'm going to make my size 5 millimeters. That seems pretty big, actually. Let's make that more like 3 millimeters and see what it looks like. I'm going to put it right there. Okay, sweet. So now I've got my text right here in cyan, so I can set my laser to it. Now let's put my name right here. So in that case, I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to go to Tools, and I want to do a single line text. And I'm going to put my name, B-R-I-A-N, oops, P-A-T-T-O-N. I think I want this to be bigger, so that's 10 millimeters. I'm thinking maybe, let's go with 6 millimeters and see what that looks like. And I'm going to put it right in the center, and I don't want to fit. I'll show you that next. And I'll say OK. And I'm going to put my name right there. Okay? Oh, that worked out really nice. Now, oh, you know what? I wanted to change my font. So I'm going to change the font. So to do that, I want to go to Properties, select it, and let's make that font something other than italics. Let's make it a script of some kind. I kind of like the script prints. Let's go with that one. And now you can see I got Brian Patton in script. All right. Next, let's put the year in. Okay, down here. I'm going to show you something cool about that. So once again, I'm going to go to Tools. I'm going to choose my single line text. I want to type in the year, which is 2024. And in this case, I think what I want to do is I'm going to fit it. I think the size is probably okay. We can change it if we have to. Fit it. Okay. Well, now what you can do is you can draw a line anywhere you want. So I'm going to make it fit no matter what I do. It's going to push the number so that it fits between here and there. Okay? Huh. Well, maybe I'll do that again. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to go text 2024, and let's go a little less of an angle, something more like that. There we go. Now at least it looks pretty good. And again, I can select it with properties, I can change it or do whatever else I want. So the next thing I want to show you, which I really like a lot about on libreCAD, is now let's put sort of a cool background repetitive pattern in that. And so I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to call it my fill layer, like so. And I'm going to make it, say, magenta. Say OK. So what I want to do is I want to fill this entire box with a light pattern so that we can, etch something onto it. So I select this entire box. Now I come up here to Tools, and I go to Hatch. And I can have all kinds of different things here. So let's look at this one. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We'll put that there. And I've got these little demons, which is awful adorable, but maybe that's not exactly what I want. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to Properties, and I'm going to select one of my little demons, and I'm going to make that something different. I'm going to go with maybe I like the Escher pattern. Where's it at? Escher. And I'm going to make it actually a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to make it, I don't know, 0.5. You know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to make that a little smaller. Let's make that 0.4. That looks pretty good. So that was a 0.4. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to demonstrate is doing something with a spline. Okay. So let's do another I'm going to do something kind of artsy right over here. And so I'm going to create another layer, and I think I'm going to call it I'll call it my artsy layer. Okay. And let's choose a different color so we can tell our laser to behave a little differently. We're going to make it green. And let me show you a couple cool things. Like I can come here and I can choose a spline. And now what it's going to do is if I draw a line, I can draw any kind of shape. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me do that again. I actually meant to do a spline through points. I'm so sorry. All right. So now you can see it kind of curves to try to fit the data. Right? I can also do that where I can spline through points, but I can tell it to make it a closed loop. So now what it's going to do is it's going to draw some sort of circle. Right? So watch this. Let's say I want to take and make a cool spiral pattern, like a spiral graph. I'm a little worried I'm going to run out of time. So I'm going to do this fast. I'm going to select it. Now from here, I can go to Rotate. And this is where I choose the point of rotation. I'm actually going to make it spin off center here. And I'm going to pick a chunk of this thing and I'm going to spin it just a little bit. Then it doesn't even matter because what's going to pop up is a graph. So you want to work with things that are easily divisible. Remember, 360 degrees around. So if I do 36, that would be 36 times 10. You've already got 1, which means I need 35 more. So I'm going to do 35 at 10 degrees, and that should make me a complete spiral circle. Okay? And the same thing with this. If I take this, and I select it, and I go to my Rotate, and I say do it, I'll do something funky. Let's do something like in here. I'm going to choose a point. I'm going to spin it just a little bit. And then I come down here. Let's do, instead of 10 degrees, let's do 20. So I think I need 18. So I need 17 more at 20 degrees. Like that. There you go. And so I have this cool pattern. I like this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it. Oops. I'm going to move it. Come on. Maybe I have to actually move. Let me go over here. I'm going to move from here to right there, and I'm going to tell it to delete the original. Boom.